This is the Randi Rhodes Show on 960 KNEW and online at 960KNEW.com.
Howdy, this is Richard Thorndike, BS News, for this Monday, the Cinco de Marzo. No? 2012. And away we go. Dateline El Dumbo. This weekend, Rush Limbaugh issued a partial quasi-apology to the law student that he called a slut. Word to Rush. You can't do something half-assed when you've been a complete ass. Nobody believed Rush meant his apology. You'd think that someone who took so much Viagra would realize that his true feelings are going to stick out just like, well, let's just say his thumb. Though it's more accurate to say his pinky. Despite the apology, most of the advertisers who dropped Rush's show are not coming back. But then, if Rush Limbaugh understood the idea that actions have consequences, he wouldn't have had a problem with contraceptives in the first place. Dateline, Limbaugh. George Will criticized the timid response to Rush Limbaugh by Republican presidential candidates, saying, quote, they want to bomb Iran, but they're afraid of Rush Limbaugh. In fairness to them, Rush Limbaugh is a lot more unstable than Iran. Dateline, Putin on the Ritz. Vladimir Putin has won the election to be president of Russia. Poll watchers reported many voting irregularities, but stopped short of describing the election as, quote, a Republican primary. And finally, Dateline, Palin comparison. Sarah Palin says that loose cannon and all-around dimwit Congressman Alan West should be considered as a vice presidential choice in 2012. It seems that Palin is tired of being thought of as the worst vice presidential choice of all time. You betcha, yeah.
You betcha, yeah. That's
all there is. Richard Thorndike, BS News. Have a great week.
Looks like the first radio station has taken Rush Limbaugh off the air in Hawaii, Hilo, Hawaii, KPUA AM 670. The general manager there, Chris Leonard, he said, regardless of the political views being discussed, he felt the initially degrading comments about Georgetown University law student Sandra Fluke and the escalating comments that followed were, quote, egregious, and that decency and responsibility dictated the show's cancellation. He said, quote, I spent a good part of the weekend deliberating the issue. Had this been one of my disc jockeys that had made that comment, they would have been terminated. So far, AOL just pulled an ad. Tax Resolution Services, they just said that they're suspending advertising on Limbaugh. This is an implosion of sorts, and obviously, there's a difference between public people and private people who do nothing to deserve this kind of swill, and there are sane people in this world who understand the difference. There are common sense individuals who understand the difference. There are people who get when a line has been crossed, and there are people who just, have said, you know what, enough already, really, truly. Glenn Beck went too far when he said Barack Obama doesn't like white people. Hundreds. I just want you to know what you're up against here. Hundreds of advertisers had to cancel. Hundreds.